Hey guys, today's video is going to be a review on some knockoff Oval 8 brushes. I got these off of Amazon. I think they look so cool. They're silver and they have like a white handle on them. So I only jumped onto the bandwagon about a few weeks ago only because I was very skeptical about which brand to buy from. I obviously didn't want to pay the huge price tag that these are originally sold in. I believe one brush is like $80 or something like that. So I wanted to try out this type of brush, but I didn't want to pay that much. I know that Amazon has a whole bunch of different kinds of knockoffs for these brushes, but I actually couldn't find any reviews on these brushes for this brand in particular. Because I couldn't find a review on these brushes, I thought when I get them, I will do a review so that more people can have an idea of what these brushes are like before they purchase them. They were only $29 Canadian. They arrived in about a month, so it's a pretty long shipping time. I was extremely obsessed with these brushes and getting my hands on them, and then by the time they actually arrived, my brain was kind of in a different place, but that's okay. I still wanted to try them out and see what they were like. In the set you get 10 different brushes. All of them are different sizes, so I will go through all the different brushes that you get. So there are 5 really small brushes. These 3 brushes right here are kind of like liner brushes, I'm guessing. They have different sizes. This one's kind of the longest one, and then there's this one, and then this one, which is the smallest. This one's a more precise one. I have used this one to carve out my brows with a little bit of concealer, and it works really well, and I wasn't expecting it to work as well as it did, so I'm happy with that. I wouldn't, however, use it for eyeliner because I don't actually have a pot eyeliner to dip it in. I just have liquid felt tips, so I only use this one out of the 2. But the only unfortunate thing is that I only have a use for the smallest one of those right now, so the other ones I just haven't used at all. These 2 right here, I believe these are like eye blending brushes or maybe even lip brushes. They're both round on the end. One has more of a dome shape and one is completely flat. So I used this one today because I had a foundation mixture on the back of my hand, so I used this to go in and stir it up, and then I actually use this to apply it directly to my face in spots, and then I use my beauty blender to blend it all out. So I feel like these are good for that use, but I haven't actually been able to figure out how to use them on my eyes, but at least I have one way to use them for now. These 3 brushes are kind of like the medium size. They're really good for concealer. I tend to use this one the most for concealer because it's a really good size to kind of get underneath the eye and also in between the eyebrows. I find that my beauty blender is a little bit too thick to get in between them perfectly, but this one fits really nicely. So I like this one for concealer. This one's pretty good too, but I find it's just a little bit too big for concealer. And this one's more for, like, I guess you could use this as like a spot treatment or something, like if you're just concealing one little spot. I don't know, I haven't used this one either, only the middle size of 3. And these are the 2 largest brushes in the set. This one is, I believe that they're both for blending in foundation. This one I thought would be too big because it's literally the size of my cheek, but it blends out really, really fast. This one I actually like more for my foundation because I can actually move it around, whereas this one's just a little bit too big. It can't actually get in there and blend it. As I say that, this one's actually extremely fast to apply the foundation. It's just I would prefer to blend it a little more. Both of these are really good. I believe I've used them for powder as well, just as like a setting powder. I don't like any of these brushes for powders, which is unfortunate because you're supposed to use them for liquids and powder. I think that's why I thought they were so cool, but I just didn't like it. They're so dense, the bristles, that it almost applied too much powder at once, and also when I put this into my pressed powder, it kicked up a whole bunch of powder everywhere. So it wasn't the most practical brush to use for powder, but for foundation, it's pretty good. So just as an overall for all of these brushes, the density is pretty much the same. It's very dense, as you can see. I've used this a couple times with foundation and you can't actually see any of the foundation on here. I haven't washed these brushes yet, so I'm curious to see if any product will come out of them once I wash them. The only thing is that they do shed a little bit as you You may not be able to see it, but there's some hairs coming out of this one. You also have to keep in mind that you're only paying $29. You're not paying the $80 or whatever it is for one brush. I also noticed that the neck of the brush right here is also very flimsy. I'm kind of worried that it will come apart if I'm pressing too hard on my face, that it can kind of snap off. It's not as flimsy as I thought it was going to be, but I just kind of put one of my fingers on the back of it like this to blend it in, which isn't really a huge issue. Even with this one, if I want to get really in there, I can grab it by the back of the brush and kind of use that. It's kind of like that palm brush that's been going around. It's extremely expensive, but this one's so big that you don't really need a bigger one. I do want to mention that after I do put my foundation on, I find that it does apply a little bit streaky, and I'm tempted to go in with my beauty blender afterwards just to pat all of the product back into my skin. It's kind of a two-step process, which is kind of a bummer because I wish that I could only use one and kind of move on with it. Also, I'm just not a huge fan of the streaks that it leaves on my face. I thought that it would be a little bit more smooth. If you guys are looking to try the Oval 8 brushes but you don't want to purchase the really expensive ones, these are a really great alternative just to test them out and figure out if you like this kind of brush. They're completely new to the beauty world. These brushes are completely different than anything I've ever seen in the beauty world, just completely innovative, and so instead of buying like the full set, I wanted to just test them out to see if I like the way that they work. I do like a few of them, and I don't like some of them as well, which is okay because you're not paying that huge price. If I was paying the full $400 or whatever it was, then I'd be a little upset. I do recommend this set for those of you who want to try something new with your makeup brushes. Maybe you're in a little bit of a rut trying to find new ones. This set is from Neverland Beauty and Health. I found this on Amazon. I'm going to try and find the link to link it down below for you guys if you're interested. I also noticed that they don't soak up a lot of the product. As you can see, there's like nothing on here, and I haven't washed them yet, which is also good. You use a lot less product than you usually would, but I still go back to my beauty blender, so we'll see how that works. So out of all of these brushes, I probably use about 4 of them, 4 out of the 10, which isn't that much when you think about it, but I only paid $29 for them, so it's not a huge deal that I don't use all of them, and the ones that I do use, I do really like. So those are all my thoughts on these knockoff oval brushes. I hope that you guys enjoyed this review and it gave you an idea of what to expect when you're going to order a cheaper version of those brushes. I recommend them to those who want to try something new and different and really fun, because there's definitely a ton of things that you can do with these brushes. It's just going to take me some time to get used to them and figure out my favorite way to use each of the brushes. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!